of the country's territory, but is now being routed by government and coalition forces.
Mass graves in Iraq lie unprotected and unexhumed. Witnesses are fleeing, and not one ISIS militant has faced trial for international crimes anywhere in the world. So I am speaking to you, the Iraqi government, and to you, UN member states, when I ask, why? Why is it that nothing has been done? Justice is also what the victims want. ISIS is a bureaucracy of evil, leaving behind it a trail of evidence that nobody is collecting. Excellencies, it is not too late to turn things around. I believe there is a common will among those in this room, among leaders in Baghdad and capitals around the world, that ISIS should be held accountable in a court of law for its crimes. What is needed now is moral leadership to actually make this happen. Don't let this be another Rwanda, where you regret doing too little, too late. Don't let ISIS get away with genocide.
Amal Clooney there. Time for a short break, but do stay with us. I'll be right back with all the business news.
Thinking of banking in Africa? Then think Zenith, one of the biggest in Nigeria, with assets over $16 billion, listed among the 20 most influential brands in the world, and winner of Best Bank in Corporate Governance. The most customer-focused bank in Nigeria, a success built on 3 foundations, dedicated to people, technology, service. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
There is nothing as symbolic as a door. It shuts to protect you and opens to give you much more. Everyone wants to succeed, not just count pennies. When life gets tough, I remember a few things. Difficulty and struggles are part of what life brings. Your strength comes from the support around you. A true friend believes in what you do, there to hold your hand through any weather. I found my partner, and we walked through doors together.
Diamond, your bank.
Welcome back to Arise News Now, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. I'm Charles Anyegolu. Now, the Central Bank of Nigeria has stopped a plan by a consortium of 13 local banks to take over the operations of the telecoms operator Etisalat for failing to continue the refinancing of the loan that the company took from the banks in 2013. The halt on the planned takeover was the outcome of a meeting held yesterday in Lagos between the Central Bank of Nigeria, the telecoms company, and its creditors. In 2013, Etisalat took a loan of $1.2 billion from a consortium of 13 Nigerian banks to expand and upgrade its network, but defaulted in the refinancing of that loan. The communications company is blaming its inability to refinance the loan on devaluation of the naira and scarcity of the dollar. Now, President Buhari's return to Nigeria may be one of the factors boosting the stock market, which ended the week up 68 points on the day to its highest closing level in 2017. Measured in US dollar terms, the markets recovered most of its 2016 losses in just 10 weeks. Well, earlier, my colleague Frank Partridge asked Arise analyst Bode Oshosami whether we can expect the Nigerian economy to flourish now that the president is back at the helm.
Well, last year was a difficult year for the market. The market was battered, so obviously there's a relief to see that there are some positive indications that the environment is going to improve from a business perspective, and particularly in the context of the economic reform and all the buzz around the growth plan, and Buhari coming back to play the role of a sponsor
What do you mean by that, a
Well,
sponsor?
the role of a sponsor is the role that is very difficult to play on an acting basis to start with. And although Osinbajo, for example, is doing a very good job as the vice president, everybody's saying that, but he can direct, he can lead. The other ministers can also own several parts of the plan, but someone has to sponsor. That's where the buck stops. Someone has to say the business case in a way that is convincing to the investor. That always has to be the sponsor. Someone has to push through the resistance, and there will certainly be a lot of
Well,
resistance.
why will there be resistance?
Well,
Because on the
every
face of it, the
change-
plan looks like a positive 3-5 years with, you know, all sorts of
Yeah,
Nigeria's
there are
problems
lots
being
of good
sorted.
things in the plan, but you and I know that the reason why Nigeria is where it is now is because people benefit, the status quo benefits from how things are being done. And if you are changing things materially, you are going to get a lot of no, no, no. And it's going to come very, very quickly. And I don't think Osinbajo can play that role in a very strong way, not because he's not able to, but his role as an acting president or vice president doesn't confer him that authority. So Buhari, hopefully he gains his strength. You know, he's tackling some monsters in Nigeria and the economy, I can assure him that. So he's going to have to be able to stand up to some of these issues. He has to be able to back the plan. And as investors hear those signals coming through that he's going to be playing that role, I think that there will be more credibility given to the plan. Now there's a lot of skepticism. One, he wasn't there when the plan was rolled out. And people even wonder if he's bought into the plan. You know, we've heard him say things that were a bit discordant before. So his initial utterances are going to be listened to very carefully about the plan.
Well, he's back at his desk on Monday, so maybe it'll be sooner rather than later.
Exactly.
But I know that the plan is to diversify Nigeria's economy to a greater extent and not to rely on oil so much. But I think we all know that the oil price is the critical factor in deciding how well or badly Nigeria fares.
Well, that's true, but if you also have studied Nigeria's budgetary process, they budgeted an oil price somewhere between $42, $44 a barrel, very, very conservative. So they're not being hit by the recent drop in price of oil. And but my view has always been with oil prices, one shouldn't obsess over them. Just have your scenarios ready and know how to manage it depending on whichever scenario shows up. But there's a lot in the plan on spending on infrastructure, like we've been saying, and not just moving away from petroleum, but also creating an environment where foreign investment can come in. We were talking about Etisalat, for example, and some of the issues. The investors are not as keen to bring in more capital in an environment where the foreign exchange rate is changing in a way that's scaring investors. So these are the things that the president obviously will have to deal with. The vice president can direct and play a very key role in navigating the process. But the key role of the sponsor is to assure the investor that this plan is for real, it's going to be implemented, and this government is taking the economy as a very serious area of change.
Perish the thought, but if President Buhari were to have to return to his doctors in London for some reason, would that scupper the plan?
I have to be realistic. If you don't have a fully voted president, because when the president is there, it's not just the name, it's the confidence, the people who voted him in expect him to do what, expect that he's working on their behalf. I have to be realistic. If he's not there, and the people who voted him don't see him there, it will have an impact for sure on whatever change you're trying to put in place.
Even in this day and age with emails and video conferencing?
No, I'm not talking
and
of in
so on.
terms of sending information. Obviously, he can send information, but if he's not able to convey his own belief and play the role of the sponsor in a way that convinces all the various interest groups, that's what I mean. If he's that incapacitated, and he can't play that role, then there will be a gap.
Bode Oshosami there talking to my colleague Frank Partridge in London. Now we're heading to a break, but plenty more to come, including sport and entertainment. Stay with us.